minus 10 seconds.
The time has come.
8, 7, 6,
Ignition sequence start.
4,
Welcome back to another episode of the College Football Overdrive podcast. My name is Fred Purdue. I'm one of your hosts. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Rick Brown, as we talk national championships. You know, we've been here. We've been here for a minute. And, Rick, it's great to be here, but it's bittersweet to be here. It's always that we know it's that one last game before we go through a really long hiatus. How's it going, man?
Yeah, yeah. Happy New Year. This is what the new year brings. Fresh beginnings
Mm-hmm.
and classic endings. And this is the
De-
end for us.
Definitely. This one was as I said before in the recap. Listen, it is what it is. Alabama didn't come through for me, and we're here. We're here, and I feel like I'm watching some really really good, but really predictable WWE, WWF, WCW, whatever your promotion of choice is. Can we? Is the bad guy going to take the belt and go to the next promotion or quit? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I mean, hey, he's got on all black. He's ready to do it.
And if it happens, oh man, could you imagine? No, you know what? We'll get into it in a minute. We'll get into it. Let's go pay some bills real quick. Make sure you go follow the show on X, Twitter at CFB Overdrive. Make sure you follow myself on Twitter at Fred Purdue CFB. This is a bittersweet weekend across all sporting events, I guess, or sporting leagues. I'm gonna be. It depends on where a certain team in Foxborough lands. I might be celebrating or crying about a top three pick, and who knows. Hey, I might get to talk to your homeboy. You never know. I might get your homeboy. Who knows? But yeah, and then there's a lot been going on with my Canes, and it's been rough. It's been rough. And then we were only a few days into the new year. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Rick Brown 91 on Twitter, X Twitter, Rick Brown 91, where I'm looking for a new head coach.
Yes, you are. I do. We got to talk about that real quick. Willie Simmons, former. You got to say former now. Former head coach of your Florida A&M Rattlers, running backs coach at Duke. That's a big jump. Congratulations. Hey, by the way,
Congrats.
I hope you're happy with being extra regular again. Sorry, it's the good and the bad.
Well, congratulations to Coach Simmons. He has built a wonderful program at FAMU. Now he's going to pursue his dreams, hopefully getting a Power Five head coaching job one day. Um, as he left the program in great shape.
hmm
So I think we have a lot of dynamic uh, uh, people trying to replace him. And I don't think this means a step back for Florida A&M. So we'll see about your ordinary comment.
We'll see. We'll see. Um, Is the celebrity head coach the route that you guys go,
No, no,
or
we
does
don't do anything by
FAMU?
flash.
Oh, you're not Flash, all substance.
We're
Wow,
all
wow.
substance.
Oh,
We're
okay,
all substance.
okay,
It's all about the
okay. No,
substance with
no
us.
Deion Sanders. Okay, got you, got you.
I mean, what Coach Sanders did on the HBCU level was great.
Hmm.
I mean, he elevated the SWAC and HBCUs in general for the years that he was there. So I'm not going to diss Coach Sanders and his antics. But I don't think that's not the direction we go. We need a bona fide, a real, not bona fide, that is not the correct word, but we need someone with experience, someone who's who's shown that they can win wherever they are. So, and we'll get that. I mean, there are candidates out there that are wonderful, that would be good, even some alumni. So,
Let's talk
sit back.
candidates. Let's talk
Sure.
candidates. Maybe a couple names that even I know a few names that I might have questions about. Cool. We can start over at Albany State. Quinn Gray,
Quick
former
rate.
quarter, yeah,
Yeah.
former quarterback, former player.
Yeah. One of the superstars in the Billy Joe era at quarterback. Went on to have a pro career at Jacksonville, and now is coaching in college. I think Quinn would be on the radar, but I think it's a little too soon. What he did with Albany State, he had a 6-5 record in his first year at Albany State, but led them to the SIAC championship. I think he's a year or two away, though. I think they're more qualified uh, candidates per se than Quinn. I do see Quinn taking it um, or being a candidate later on and down the road a bit, but just think it's a little too soon right now.
Do we go to the NFL ranks? Maybe KJ Black, offensive assistant from with the LA Rams, former player, or maybe even Terry Braden Jr.
Mhm.
Defensive line assistant coach for the Chiefs. NFL
Okay,
route isn't a bad route.
not a bad route if they want to have their own coach. I mean, have their own program. It's if it's if a player, I mean, if someone has their own mission, you got to ask yourself this: is family your dream job? And if so, then why are you in the NFL? So, what do you want to do here? So, while the NFL route is okay, I don't think that this will be the way to go. You have a couple of candidates. You have the interim coach James Cozy, who ran his own programs in Canada and has been pretty solid with the Rattlers. Also, you have an old school Rattler, bred through and through in Billy Rowe, who was a former high school coach. The only, I believe, I saw the only person to win 3 state championships with 3 different schools in Miami.
Hmm. Hmm.
And um, he played at FAM under Rudy Hubbard. He was a head coach. I mean, he was an associate coach under Willie Simmons up until this year, and I think he had to go into the drop program. But now he could come back to the university. So he would be an ideal choice if he wants the job.
He would
Yeah,
definitely
that's
get
interesting.
the he would have the recruiting
Yes,
in South Florida. I mean,
yes.
I remember he was the head coach of that very famous, very good, very good Miami Northwestern team in 2007. He had guys like Teddy Bridgewater and Amari Cooper, big NFL names. I mean,
Hmm.
and so if you can coach them at the high school level as well, if you can recruit them, that's a name,
It is. It is.
hell of a
So
name.
so we'll see. I mean, that's also if he wants the job,
Right, right.
which I think he does. I think he would want it. And it's been so quiet up in Tallahassee the last week that I believe things are going on behind the doors. So it should
A
be an
name that
interesting search.
a name that I have for you, and it would be an interesting dynamic because you and I'm go- and you'll if you know you know um, associate head coach and defensive coordinator Ryan Smith. You already, but he would if he's the if you've already putting guys in the if you're putting guys in the league, and I mean guys that are actually all Americans, Isaiah Land, defensive end, Marquise Bell, are also who plays for the Cowboys. I know that hurts to say that one of your alums are playing for that team, but I mean he's pretty good too. So, but how do you feel? How would that dynamic work at a HBCU? And if you know, you know.
It'll be interesting. Interesting dynamic. But the thing is, there are certain schools that you can get that you can get experience with.
Hmm.
There are certain schools that once you get there, you are enriched with a culture that you don't want to do anything else. You get almost drunk of this situation. We're at a position now that we can be picky. That we don't have to just try to. It's not about the names now. It's about the character. It's about, can you lead young men? Can you grow them? Can you help them get into the pros? Can you help them become men, productive men, in whatever they do afterwards? That's why I think fam is unless it's someone, and you have to know this, unless it's an arm up someone from FAMU or an older coach like a McNair, Fred McNair,
Hmm.
who's had success in the SWAC,
At
who's
Alcorn, yeah.
won in the SWAC. Um, then whoever takes over, more than likely is going to be you're going to be in this position in a few more years anyway. Whether he does real good or he does not so good, because they're going to want to move on.
I like it. I like it. We'll keep an eye on this story as we go forward, heading into the spring, because they're going to have to lock down a guy before at least the spring, I would think, just
Oh yeah.
because getting those practices done and installing or uh, their system, their culture, all that good stuff. So we'll keep an eye on it. And then on top of that, signing day, the official signing day is fastly approaching. So we'll
And
keep
the
it
good thing, they haven't lost too many commits.
correct.
They lost a couple, but most of them have said they're good. They'll be there, and that's a good thing. And that tells you the program that has been built and established, and also tells me that they're not changing too much.
Right, right. I'm interested. I'm interested, especially knowing now one. The first domino fell at Jackson State. The second domino falls at FAMU, where these two teams were the standard amongst HBCUs. Got me watching a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. But we're here to talk a little bit of national championship, right? And we got some very interesting teams here. One has been surrounded in around just a ton of scandal from dating back to last year and probably a little bit before that. I don't call it scandal. It's stealing signs. Everybody does it. But of course, because they did it. It's because they did it. Nobody else. The Michigan Wolverines, winners of the Big Ten, beating their arch rival, head coach not there, all that good stuff. And the Washington Huskies, a really good quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., who just keeps lighting people up, and we keep saying he's not this, he's not that. He may not be Caleb Williams, but he's damn good. Just saying. Joe Moore Award for the offensive line as a group. These guys are legit. This isn't just going to be an easy game. So let's talk about it. We have the number 1 Michigan Wolverines facing off against the number 2 Washington Huskies in the college football playoff national championship game presented by AT&T. When is this game? Monday, January 8th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, that is. This game will be played at NRG Stadium in Houston, home of the Houston Texans. You can watch this game on ESPN, the 4 letters, and whatever app they have. I'm not giving you all their promotion, but hey, that's where you can watch that game. The opening line for this game was Michigan opened up at 4.5 points. So let's start. Let's talk about. We can break this whole thing down. We can start off with the coaches. Jim Harbaugh. What else can you say? This is what you bring when you say I'm bringing a guy in for the long haul. Jim Harbaugh's been here for at least a decade now, and he started off, 0-5 against his rival Ohio State because that's all they care about up there. They care about beating Ohio State, and then everything else falls in place great. He has been in the college football playoff before, and it didn't turn out so great last year, but he's back again here, and we've seen so many ups and downs for him. My biggest memory of him is punting a punt against Michigan State, and all you had to do was just salt the game away. And block punt, game ends. Michigan State win. These are memories I have of him, at least at the college level. And honestly, I look at it and I say, it might not be exactly what you thought it should look like as soon as it should have, but you're here now. Harbaugh has, after winning that semifinal game, they snapped a 6-game losing streak in bowl games. That helps a lot, especially against Alabama, especially the way they won it. Still not big on J.J. McCarthy, but he showed up when it mattered. He has a chance to win a national championship for his alma mater, which is great too, where he played quarterback from 1983 to 1986. Harbaugh is in his second year of a 5-year contract with Michigan. I have a sneaky suspicion he won't complete that contract, but there are two separate ongoing NCAA investigations against him. One is alleging a recruiting violation, and another is an alleged sign stealing scheme. I think the recruiting violations will stick. I don't think the sign stealing thing is a bit of nothing. I think they're just going to make a rule about it and move on. There's also, like I said, he's flirting with the NFL, and he keeps doing it. What if they win this game and he bolts for the NFL? Hey, there's an opening in I almost said San Diego. They're always going to be the Superchargers for me. I don't care. But there's an opening in LA. You never know. And openings other places. So you never know with his decision there. That whole program could be on top, could be turned on its head at the end of all of this. So How do you feel about Jim Harbaugh and how his time at Michigan has been? Is it all worth it at this point?
Oh, most definitely. Everything is worth it. When you get to this stage right here,
Hmm.
you're at the highest, you're at the pinnacle, and he has overcome a lot of things, a lot of adversity, a lot of losses, a lot of talk about how they couldn't win first against Ohio State, then they couldn't win a playoff game. Now look at them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Look at them now. So, so you always want to throw things in Michigan's face. Now you're talking about you take away your head coach, the head coach for 6 games, and all they do is win. Yeah, the daggone well they want to win this game, and when they're handed the championship trophy, tell everyone to stick it where the sun don't shine.
Mm.
That is Michigan's goal. That's what they want to do, and they have the team to do it.
They definitely have the team to do it. We'll see. On the other side, we have Washington's Kalen DeBoer. He is in his second season as Washington's head coach. They actually believe if I told you he led his Huskies to 21 straight victories, which is the longest active streak in FBS. Would you believe me?
Yes.
I mean, this thing's been brewing since last year. Washington was pretty good last year, so and then it's the school's first appearance in the national championship game. Yeah, this one. I mean, they and granted, this is it's weird to say this because they shared a national title back in '91 with Miami, but they didn't actually have a national title game. And for all of y'all that like sharing national, man, listen. I don't want to hear all that. I'm not trying to hear all that sharing and claiming national titles. Play in it, win it, call it a day. Cool.
Sharing
Uh,
is caring.
mm, mm, okay. Um, he had humble beginnings at the University of Sioux Falls in South Dakota, which is, I mean, that's a long way. They have three NAIA national titles and had as many undefeated seasons under him. So yeah, it's a long way up from there, but the fact that he's winning, as the fact that he's still winning everywhere he's been, he's a damn good head coach. Damn good head coach. A 67-3 record at Sioux Falls. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty damn good. So, how did we get here? How did we get here? Uh, Michigan has been on a tear. Again, Harbaugh suspended for 6 of their 12 regular season games. I don't think any other team in the country could have withstood that. Just being honest, I don't care if you're a Crimson Tide fan, you're a Tigers fan, regardless of which Death Valley you like. If your head coach is not there, I don't for 6 games. I don't know any other team in the country that could withstand that. Right? Sharon Moore was their head coach for the last three, while Harbaugh was suspended in his final 3 games. He had big wins against Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State. Again, those are big wins, right? They had a Michigan against the world mentality. Usually we hear that us against the world mentality, but when it actually comes down to it, and you have to play a game, when the bullets start flying, things change. It changes. Not only did you knock those three off, you knocked off Alabama, and you knocked off that Iowa team that doesn't like to score points. But uh, this team has done a very, very good job of withstanding everything they've gone through. Um, Even holding off Georgia and others when it came college football playoff selection time. The last time this team won a national title game was 1997. They shared it with Nebraska. Let's
There
be
you go with
real.
that sharing again.
I know, I know, I know. I I saw Michigan be the best team in the country in '97 at 8 years old. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw
Hmm.
Charles Woodson with a rose in his mouth being Heisman Trophy with. I don't care about any sharing. That was that they were the national title winner that year. How did Washington get here? This team, they've been an underdog a lot this year. They had a 36-33 win over Oregon early in the season. That was when they got on our radar, right? But then you had wins against Arizona State, Stanford, USC, Utah, Oregon State late. But throughout that, yeah, you had some injuries, some sickness by your Heisman candidate quarterback, and you still kept beating people. And I mean, they just kept taking a punch over and over and over and over to the point you were a 9.5 point underdog against Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. And what happened? Won pretty good, right? So Washington again, they were an underdog again against Texas, went in, won that game handily. Honestly, the score may not indicate it, but they won pretty handily. They were up 2 touchdowns the majority of the game. Michael Penix Jr., Heisman Trophy runner-up, against a pretty good pass defense that allowed only a sixth of its opponents to throw for 300 yards or more. That's pretty damn good. Last time that this team won a national title again was 1991. They allegedly shared it with Miami.
Allegedly shared it with Miami.
Allegedly. I was like 2 years old when that happened, so I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna even act like I was there. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I was rooting in spirit though. I guess. Who knows? Uh, keep for you. I know you've been following the way you followed Washington, the way you followed TCU last year, and they seemed like a team of destiny. Every time they took a punch, they punched back. They found a way. Maybe not have the 9 lives that TCU had last year, but this Washington team is resilient, and they're pretty darn good.
Yeah, they are. And they're more than this offense, actually. You know, their defense bends and bends and bends, but each time this year, when it came to it, their defense has made a play at the end. And so, is this a team of destiny? We always talk about the Cinderella teams. You mentioned TCU and my fascination with them last year. What's up, Joe B? PC legend there. Uh, this game is really interesting because you have the game against a team that has that chip on their that proverbial chip on the shoulders, and you already mentioned us against the world mentality against the team that no one believes in, but just keeps on winning each and every week. That sets up a dynamic game. I don't think we'll have a blowout this game. I think it's going to come down to whoever gets the ball at the end. And while I was wrong with the Texas game when I said whoever gets the ball at the end, um, this one could be that way. And I've been going back and forth about who can win this game because I think both teams have championship qualities. The one everyone knows Michigan, and what Washington has done this year, and you mentioned it, the last 2 years have been nothing short of phenomenal in itself. So we're in for a good one, I do believe.
Yeah, I think we're in for a good one. I think this is going to be the proverbial offense versus defense game. When you really look at how both of these teams play, I look at I want to look at some of and when I say key players in this, I know you're going to hear offense, 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 but I think this is the proverbial offense versus defensive matchup, and typically I may lean one way versus the other, but you might be surprised. So let's talk key players, right? We know our quarterbacks. We have Michael Penix Jr. We also have um, McCarthy, JJ McCarthy, one of the top players. Both top players coming out of high school. One's a pocket passer. One's more of a dual threat guy. Uh, JJ, I have this. I don't even want to call it a love hate. It's more of a hate relationship with JJ McCarthy because every time I see him on the field, and maybe it's just Michigan's way of doing things, they win in spite of the quarterback. They win up front. They're a tough run heavy team. Lot they throw wrinkles at you. A lot of jet motion, moving guys around. They want to confuse your eyes. But when I see JJ McCarthy play, I'm like, his decision making leaves a lot to be desired. They don't push the ball down the field. They like for him. His weakness is sprinting out to his right. If you can get him to sprint out to his right, he tends to struggle. There's a lot about JJ's game that I'm just not a fan of, but I think they're going to need his right arm to win games simply because take away the run game, which is their bread and butter with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards and that offensive line. I want to see how he responds because first play of the Alabama game, he throws a pick. Granted, he was throwing the ball away, but he still threw a pick. Granted, foot out of bounds, toe out of bounds, whatever. But still, it was a terrible decision. So I want to see what happens if a team like Washington says, we're not giving you the run game today. JJ, you got to beat us. What happens? But
Mm-hmm.
on the other side, for Washington, while Michael Penix is the big dog on that team, Rome Odunze, who accounts for 82% of their offense production, and don't no disrespect to Jalen Polk, he's the game breaker on their side of the ball, for their offense. How many big plays will he get you cheap and deep? Will he beat you just deep? I want to see how he can affect the secondary as a whole for Michigan, and if they take him away, can guys like Jalen Polk take advantage? What say you?
Yeah, Polk could be the X factor here,
Mm-hmm.
just because you know uh, Mike is going to need someone to not only stretch the field, but get in that intermediate range, the third and eights, the
Mm-hmm.
the those critical downs where normally he would go one way, but if Michigan is anything worth its salt, they're going to try to take that away. I think Polk is the X factor there, and Washington's going to have to generate some kind of run game. They're going to have to run the ball to alleviate some of that pressure on Mike Penix. And I know they have big Penix energy and all of that, but this isn't a game that I don't see this being a shootout. I don't see this being a Texas game. I see this being a grinded out game. Can Washington win a grinded out game? We think so. We know the other team can. Phew. Mm. Should be it's going to be interesting. Who imposes their will and who can overcome.
Dylan Johnson, running back for Washington, was injured at the end of the Texas game when he was dragged down by Texas lineman Alfred Collins. And while the reports say that he is ready to go, You don't recover from a foot and ankle injury in a week. You know, and he's the power back. He's the big dog. He's the guy that says, "Listen, give me three, maybe 4 yards in a cloud of dust." Okay, uh, 6 foot, 218, 1,100 yards, 16 touchdowns. Right? He's gonna be the guy he's the banger. And in games like this, you need a guy who can go get you those tough yards. While he only had 49 yards against Texas on 21 carries, those 49 yards are tough, grinded out yards. And when you see him play against teams, throughout the season, watching him play against certain teams that play very similar styles, like a Michigan, the Utahs of the world, the Oregons of the world, um, it makes you look and say, this team really might have a shot. Against Utah, 104 yards on 23 carries and a touchdown. Against Oregon the first time, 20 carries, 100 yards and a touchdown. Against Oregon the second time, 28 carries, 152 yards and two touchdowns. So you can tell that the bigger physical teams he doesn't have problems with, and that's a big part of case in part to that offensive line that Michigan does. I'm sorry, that Washington has. And that leads me to my matchup to watch. The Michigan's D line versus Washington's O line. We saw what Michigan's D line did to Alabama and their offensive line, sack after sack after sack. Washington's offensive line, they got the Joe Moore Award, which is the award given to the best offensive line in the country. So entering Monday, going into Monday, Michael Penix completed 41% of his passes when outside of the pocket. But Washington gave up only 11 sacks all season. So can he be well protected? We'll see. Can they push some guys out of the way in that run game? We'll see. But I think that's the matchup for me. It's the battle in the trenches up front. I know the receivers are and the running backs and the quarterbacks are the sexy pick, but I look at how, again, Michigan had 4 sacks or 6 sacks against Alabama. It's not going to be easy sledding.
Agreed. Agreed. It's not. And so we come to that time then, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Who wins the national championship game?
Who wins this game? I battled with this thing for all week. Usually I have an answer. I had an answer ready to go last week, and well, Jalen Milroe fumbled the bag. So does the hometown guy, Michael Penix, does he continue to tell us why he's this guy? He's the guy. And does Kalen DeBoer in 2 years say, we're a problem and you need to watch us, and hey, we're going to, and they're taking the belt they're taking the belt too because they're going to a new conference. So the Pac-12 champ, the national champ could potentially they're going to the Big Ten with the belt. Or does Jim Harbaugh take that Big Ten title, win a national title, give double barrels, and go off to the league? Give me Michigan to win this game close. 24-20. Last-ditch effort by Michael Penix is thwarted. Jim Harbaugh wins him a national title, the first for Michigan since 1997, with that group with the names of like Tom Brady and Charles Woodson.
Tom Brady.
He's on the team, okay? He's on the team. He was on the team. You know I had to do it.
And you know that someone who was a little older at this time knows exactly what Brady did for that program in
Absolutely
that
nothing.
game.
Absolutely nothing.
Uh,
Absolutely nothing.
okay. Been following Michael Penix because he's from Pasco County. Yeah, he had a stint at Tampa Bay Tech, which was also my oldest son's alma mater. So real huge Michael Penix fans here in the Brown household. Been with Michigan all year because I like stories. I like villains in the NCAA.
Hmm.
I love that story. I love where Michigan said, "Bet, okay, you want to suspend our coach? Bet. You want to try to take away things? Bet. Just bring it."
Pull the trigger. Go ahead and do it.
I told you last time when we had this that I thought someone was going double barrels and walking off in the sunset. I'm not changing that pick now. As much as I think Washington is a great team and deserves to be here, Michigan has that added edge of screw you. We're going to do it anyway. Give me Michigan close.
Wow. Okay. I like it. I like it. We rarely agree when it comes to picking up these title games, but I think this one's gonna be, and I don't think it's gonna. We won't see another one like last year at all. I don't. I hope not. I hope not. So, Jim Harbaugh, you have our support here over here at the College Football Overdrive podcast. Go ahead and give us a like and a share over on and follow the show at CFB Overdrive on X Twitter. You can follow me on X Twitter at CFB or oh boy at Fred Purdue CFB. And Rick, where can they find you to give you a good suggestion on who should be the next headman at FAMU? That's going to be the question of the day for you. Who's going to be the next headman on the
Holler at me
highest
at
of seven hills?
Holler at me at Rick Brown 91 RICKBROWN 91. Hashtag the great next great.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. So until we talk to you guys again, which will be after this national championship game, I'll be live and in the building on Twitter. So don't worry about me. You know me. I'm gonna be there. Um, I don't know about Rick. I don't know Rick. You watching at a party? You watching a party? What we doing?
It will be watched.
It will be watched. Okay. It will be watched. Okay.
I have no
Okay.
other information. I will not
Oh, okay.
confirm nor deny
Nor deny. Okay.
that I
Okay.
will be in Houston.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Oh,
not saying
okay.
that. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
saying that.
Okay.
I either will be or I won't.
Okay. I got you. I got you. Well, until we talk to you guys on the other side of this college football national championship, stay safe and peace.
Peace out.